Mormonism's most embarrassing quotations. Cadillacs for Negroes. I would be willing to let every Negro drive a Cadillac, if they could afford it. Don't masturbate. It may be necessary to tie a hand to the bed frame with a tie in order that the habit of masturbating in a semi-sleep condition can be broken. This can also be accomplished by wearing several layers of clothing. Moon men. Moon men dress like Quakers and must have the true gospel revealed to them by missionaries from the earth. Blacks are a different species. Had I anything to do with the Negro, I would confine them by strict law to their own species. Brigham's plural wife limit. Brother Cannon remarked that people wondered how many wives and children I had. He may inform them that I shall have wives and children by the million, and glory and riches and power and dominion. The planet Kolob. God lives on a planet called Kolob. Plural wives limit. I found about 400 of my female kindred who were never married. I asked President Brigham Young what I should do with them. He said for me to have them sealed or married to me unless there were more than 999 of them. Mutual masturbation. Masturbation leads to grievous sin, even to that sin against nature, homosexuality. For done in private, it evolves often into mutual masturbation, practiced with another person of the same sex, and thence into total homosexuality. Christ was a polygamist. It will be seen that the great Messiah, who was the founder of the Christian religion, was a polygamist. Men can become gods. To this end, God created man to live in mortality, and endowed him with the potential to perpetuate the race, to subdue the earth, to perfect himself, and to become as God, omniscient and omnipotent. Oral sex is a sin. Talking about husband and wife relationships, the First Presidency has interpreted oral sex as constituting an unnatural, impure, or unholy practice. Mormon garments are bulletproof. This garment protects from disease and even death, for the bullet of an enemy will not penetrate it. The prophet Joseph carelessly left off his garments on the day of his death, and had he not done so, he would have escaped unharmed. Wives must obey husbands. When women get married in the temple, they agree to obey the law of their husbands and abide by his counsel in righteousness. Killin' folk. We close the door on one side and say that whoredoms, seductions, and adulteries must not be committed among us, and we say to those who are determined to carry on such things, "We will kill you." The masturbation factory. Perhaps he is encouraged by unwise or unworthy companions to tamper with that factory. He might fondle himself and open that release valve. This you shouldn't do, for if you do that, the little factory will speed up. You will then be tempted again and again to release it. You can quickly be subject to a habit. Homosexuals destroy civilizations. This heinous homosexual sin is of the ages. Many cities and civilizations have gone out of existence because of it. Soldiers should wear garments. God protected me as enemy machine gun bullets ripped away my clothing, gear, and helmet without ever touching my skin. This was due to my Mormon garments. Don't use birth control. The Church does not approve of any form of artificial birth control. Death to those who intermarry. Shall I tell you the law of God in regard to the African race? If the white man who belongs to the chosen seed mixes his blood with the seed of Cain, black people, the penalty under the law of God is death on the spot. This will always be so. Men are in charge. The Lord has assigned to men the chief responsibility for the governing and presiding over the affairs of the church and the family. Slavery is okay, but we have no right to interfere with slaves, contrary to the mind and will of their masters. In fact, it would be much better and more prudent not to preach at all to the slaves until after their masters are converted, and then teach the masters to use them with kindness, remembering that they are accountable to God, and the servants are bound to serve their masters with singleness of heart, without murmuring. Civil rights activists are communists. The civil rights movement in the South has been fomented almost entirely by the communists. The pending civil rights legislation is, I am convinced, about 10% civil rights and 90% a further extension of the socialistic federal controls. It is part of the pattern for the communist takeover of America. No thinking required. When our leaders speak, the thinking has been done. Jesus and the devil are brothers. There is a devil, he and the fallen angels who followed him are spirit children of the Father God. As Christ is the firstborn of the Father in the Spirit, so Lucifer is a son of the morning, one of those born in the morning of pre-existence. He is a spirit man, a personage, an entity, comparable in form and appearance to any of the spirit children of the Eternal Father. God was a man. God himself was once as we are now, and is an exalted man, and he sits enthroned in yonder heavens. Adam is our God. Brigham Young believed that Adam of the Bible is really God the Father. Father Adam came here and helped make the earth. Then he said, I want my children who are in the spirit world to come and live here. I want my children that were born to me in the spirit world to come here and take tabernacles of flesh. Joseph Smith knew other languages. Shinha, which is the sun. Olia, which is the moon. Kokabim, which signifies stars. Kolob is the greatest of all the Kokobim. Pearl of Great Price, the Book of Abraham, 1878 edition.